progress over perfection. Start off with an open and honest discussion about where you really are, and set yourself something that is realistic and that is achievable, and then celebrate success.
Hello everybody, my name is Cameron Roberts. I'm the digital and community editor here at Conference News, and I'm joined by Faye Dyer, who's the managing director at ACC Liverpool. Faye, how are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning indeed. What we're going to chat about today is the social impact in the event sector, how ACC Liverpool has flowed that into their business strategy, and there's a lot of exciting things to talk about here, I think, Faye. But I mean, to sort of lead everyone in, for those who might not know you, give us a little bit of an intro of who you are, what you do, and I guess how you're invested in this social impact plan.
Yeah, sure. So hi, I'm Faye Dyer. I'm the managing director of the ACC Liverpool Group. So the group comprises the M.I.C.E Bank Arena, ACC Liverpool, Exhibition Centre Liverpool, and we also have a regional ticketing business, Ticket Quarter. I've been in post for about 6 months now. And our mission, really, our vision as a business is to be a sustainable business that is very passionate about doing the right things. And I think, certainly coming on the back of the pandemic, we've all quite rightfully been very focused on the sustainability of our own businesses and very much focused on economic impact. But for a business that is very conscious about doing the right things and that recognises that our role is to have the most positive impact that we can on our local communities, I am hugely passionate about shifting the conversation a little bit away from economic value to social value and the social impact that our businesses have on our local communities.
Awesome. So it sounds like you're the right person to talk to. I mean, the real meat of what I want to talk about is ACC Liverpool's social value impact plan. So I guess that's, quite a lofty title for it. But I mean, in kind of the bare bones, what is it? How long have you guys been working on it? And I guess give me a bit of an overview.
Yeah, certainly. So it's a very action-oriented plan. So we've been working on this now for about the last 6 months, because it is fantastic to have a vision. So, for example, you may be signing up to the event industry pledge to be zero net carbon by 2030. But what's more important than having a vision, arguably, is having a very clear, measurable plan about how you're going to get somewhere. So we've come up with a very clear plan that covers 5 key areas. So it covers community, it covers the environment and sustainability, it covers our people, it covers procurement with purpose, and it also covers the event industry and the impact and influence we can have on the event industry. And it's not warm words, it's very clear, measurable, tangible actions that we are going to take as a business over 2022. Very smart objectives that we want to hold ourselves accountable to, because I think it's hugely important that we all start to make progress towards certain things. And it's not about achieving perfection. We're all on quite a long journey, aren't we? And we have to recognise that we've got a lot of other priorities as a business, but this is so material to who we are, and this is so important to our communities that we really wanted to start to make some measurable progress against these 5 areas. So again, it's been very, very open, I think, and very transparent out there with our stakeholders and with our clients.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's the key differentiator. When I first heard of this, is it's very easy to say we're going to do, this sustainable pledge, but no one really knows what it means. So I guess it would be good for me, and for hopefully those who are watching, to have a little bit of an idea of how are you measuring your success in a couple of those areas. I think obviously sustainability is going to be one that a lot of people want to hear of, but obviously our audience is events people. So I guess what are some of those objectives, and how are you measuring success?
Yeah, I think, just to answer the measuring success points, so they're all very smart, and they are all things that we are going to very publicly report back on at the end of 22, and then set ourselves new targets for 23. There are ways in which you can assign a monetary value to the social impact that you have, and you'll see in our plan that's something that we're going to work on and consider over the course of 22. There are also a lot of very useful frameworks that are already out there around social value. So for example, UN have got sustainable development goals. There's a global destination sustainability index that's out there that Liverpool as a city was actually the first English city to sign up to. So there's some really good frameworks, but for us it's about coming up with something that is unique, that is deliverable, and that is absolutely focused on the communities that you are here to serve, but that flexible enough that you can align yourselves to any one of those frameworks, and you can report under those frameworks depending on what stakeholder that you're engaging with. So it's almost a bit like a matrix approach, if you like. Just to sort of touch on what some of the things are then, because I think it is good to sort of give some examples really and be a bit more specific. So our first one is community. So I think, as a business, we've always been hugely invested in the community. So for example, to date, we've given over 100,000 tickets to our community. But as a next step to improvement action for next year, well, actually, a ticket isn't great for some of our most deprived areas if we don't look at transport. And how do we get them here complimentary? How do we make sure that when they're here, for example, that they're fed and they're watered and they don't have to spend money themselves? So it's taking it that step further. We've also always been really strong in terms of, volunteering in the community. But the way we've moved it forward is to set very clear targets that says, okay, well, how many hours of volunteering are you going to do? How many hours are you going to give in terms of outreach support for education? So again, very, very smart, very tangible objectives. If we look at procurement, for example, we've always had a 10% minimum sustainable or social value weighting in our procurement. But again, what does that really mean? And how is that really going to benefit your local communities? So we're working on like a marketplace that says, okay, don't necessarily tell me what you think social value is and looks like. Actually, here's what our community would like. And as part of your procurement exercise, how are you going to deliver some specific measurable things that our community actually wants to see as part of your social value contribution? So again, really trying to align what our suppliers can offer to what our communities really need. If you look at, people, for example, we've been a real living wage employer for as far back certainly as I can recall. But really starting to focus on social mobility. How are we reaching out through our recruitment processes to all of our areas in our community? How are we making sure that we've got really clear pathways for people that remove that sort of unbiased conscious? So it's taking some of those, I suppose, more challenging areas and trying to give really clear paths for things and show really what this could look like. Take the event industry, for example, how are we going to partner with clients better? So being really clear with the commitment to clients that says, we will help you build in a social value aspect to your event. We will absolutely provide you with an event report that is clear in terms of what is the carbon impact of your event. So again, really just very, very measurable, very tangible things that we can give.
Awesome. I mean, that sort of leads quite well, I guess, into the next point I was going to make. When you're talking to your clients about this is a plan that we do and this is how it affects you. I mean, how does this social value impact plan feed into how you operate as a business? So, I mean, how are you utilizing it to, I guess, change your product offering, for example?
Yeah, really good question. So one of the key things for us is all around engagement. So at the moment, we're just going through a strategic review of the business to say, whilst we are still in recovery mode, we also want to make sure that we're focusing on, what does the next 5 to 10 years look like at the ACC Liverpool Group? And as part of that strategic review, we are doing a whole host of stakeholder engagement sessions. So one of those, for example, is community interest groups. And through, therefore, working with a really diverse range of individuals from our local community, it's making sure that we are coming up with a plan that is fully inclusive and is really representative of what our customers and our consumers want. So we're really actively listening, I would say, the same with our clients in terms of our client interactions and making sure that we're not sitting here and being very internally focused and thinking that we know what good looks like. It's very much about engagement to me, and it's about listening and working together in terms of, what do collaborative and meaningful solutions look like that can be sustainable and they're going to, leave a really positive legacy and impact.
Well, I mean, on the subject of collaborating, I guess putting that message out there to, your peers and other people in the events industry. The one last thing that I will ask you, and I guess maybe if you'd answer this as succinctly as possible, maybe in a sentence or a phrase. What's your advice to another event business who wants to be more conscious of their social impact?
Progress over perfection. Start off with an open and honest discussion about where you really are and set yourself something that is realistic and that is achievable, and then celebrate success.
Lovely and succinct. Exactly. You understood the assignment. That's all the time myself
Not
and
the
Faye.
most succinct usually, Cameron. So.
That's actually all the time myself and Faye have for today. But thank you very much for joining me. If anyone watching wants to learn more about the ACC Liverpool, you can visit accliverpool.com. More information about the social impact plan, about the venue, about the group, all that good stuff. But thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you all next time.
Thank you.